Hello, and a very warm welcome to another of my video podcasts on positive aging. It has been a while. Today, I want to return to the subject of change because so many of us find change really difficult. And I want to look specifically at what stops us from making changes even when we know they're going to benefit us. And like to look very particularly at attitude and also the kind of inner commentaries that we all have that are quite negative and stop us from doing things. So, first of all, the inner commentaries, well, they might well be I'm hopeless, I can't do it, everybody else finds life easier than me, everyone's luckier than me, I'm just a waste of space, those sort of things. And they are thoughts that we all have from time to time, but we really have to challenge them, look for truth in them, and when we find that there isn't very much truth in them, we have to abandon them. Because these are irrational thoughts, and they're unhelpful thoughts, and they are very definitely unproductive and an enemy of change. Then attitude, which I think emerges out of thoughts, really, is a big factor here too. If you've got an attitude where you want to learn and you're up for change, then obviously you're going to find it a lot easier than if you don't really want to change very much or you're sure it's going to be far too difficult. Now, I think many of us think, I'll know when to change. And you feel there's going to be this glorious golden day when you're going to be brimful of confidence, everything's going to be wonderful, the stars are all aligned, and you'll make a change that is going to turn your life around. Well, occasionally I think that does happen, but if we wait for it, we wait a very long time. So I wouldn't wait. Instead, I think we need to get on with it. I often give talks now on positive aging, now that we're back in the real world, as it were. I'm doing it with people in front of me, and it's a joy actually to see a sea of faces where we've just had Zooms for so long. And I'd forgotten how much you get actually from the audience. And you can spot the people that have come really ready to learn something. They're sitting forward, they're smiling at you, they're nodding, they're engaging with what you're saying. And of course, that's meat and drink to the speaker because you feel you're going quite well. There are other people who are clearly more reflective and they're taking it in, but you feel they'll kind of bide their time and wait and see how it kind of processes. And then there are always going to be some people in the room who really don't like you, or who are quite negative about life in general, or actually feel actively hostile to you. And there's nothing you can do about that. But those are the sort of people that tend to think, oh, it's all right for her, or she's obviously a very lucky person. And I would be the first to say that in many ways I have been a very lucky person, but there have been lots of bad things along the way. And you look at anybody, nobody's just a mix of pure luck and nothing else. We've all got lots of stuff going on. The movie mogul Samuel Goldwyn was once, somebody said to him, oh, you're so lucky, Mr. Goldwyn. And he went, do you know something? I'll say that again. Do you know something? He said, what I've discovered is the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I think there is much to that. So if you're just thinking, oh, I want a magic fix and it's easier for her and it's not going to work for me, that's really an attitude that you need to overcome if you're going to make a change that will benefit you. So let's look at what we can actually do. I remember when I was training in cognitive behaviour therapy, a lecturer came to us and he was quite sort of bombastic, and he said, when you have a patient and you're suggesting strategies and things and they go, well, I can't change at all. You have to look them straight in the eye and go, it's not so much you can't, it's that you won't. I can honestly say I've never had the courage to do that, but I do know what he meant. And so much of what we feel we can't do, we won't do, but it's usually because we're not ready. And I, in my years as a therapist, have found that very often people really do want to make a change, but they're not ready. They're not ready to leave the abusive husband. They're not ready to leave the job where they're being bullied because they've got nothing to go to, and so forth. So, I take an example. Often people used to come to me in Harley Street when they'd been in a clandestine affair for far too long. Often it was a woman, not invariably, but often. And often she was having an affair with somebody senior to her in the company in which she worked. And I remember one woman who came to me, and this had been going on for 17 years. 17 years where she'd waited to start her life, and it simply wasn't happening. And when I say start her life, I mean it, because her life was on hold. Her parents didn't know about him. They couldn't understand why she's not got a man and having grandchildren for them. And so often she ducked out of arrangements with friends because she thought, oh, he might get a bit of time to come round this evening. And she'd spent Christmases alone, birthdays alone. And she said to me, I need to feel better about this, but I can't leave him. So I didn't say, well, you have to leave him, because she wasn't ready. So we looked at all the negatives about being in this relationship rather than the positives. And I said to her, what I suggest you do is next week, around about this time, wherever you are, just ask yourself, am I ready to leave him today? And probably the answer will be no, but ask yourself this every week. So she did that, and we also did some work. And one day she came to me and said, what I've decided is I can't leave him, not entirely, but I think I could have a holiday for the first time and not be in contact. And that's what she did, and that was the beginning of better things. Now, change energizes us. In her case, she suddenly had time for her friends. I've just had a complete IT overhaul. That was a change I was dreading. Sure, it would be disastrous. It's been great. And as a result, I felt energized, and I've looked at my website properly before it was being revamped and thought, oh gosh, I haven't done anything like this for a while, for example, and that a lot of things I'd sort of let slide. So having the change, embracing the change, has changed me, and I hope for the better. So now you're the expert on you. What do you want to change? Do you want to lose weight? Do you want to change your job? Do you want to declutter your house? Whatever it is, there will be things that are stopping you, and they need to be fought. But meanwhile, instead of thinking of it as a big thing, think of 3 things that you could perhaps start today and that might move you on. For example, one thing, if you want to declutter your house, you could say, I'll spend half an hour on throwing a few things away from the cupboard under the stairs. It's a start. Baby steps effect great change. I hope this has helped. I'll see you again very soon.